Okay, it's Friday night, and we are once again live from the man cave. And let's see how things are running here. I'm hoping that we're going to be a little cleaner tonight than we have been in the past. We have done some hardware upgrades, and I'm going to show you some of that here in a minute.
Live from the man cave.
Hold on. We're going to shut that guy down. That guy talks way too much. As you know, I've been experimenting with some new software here, this Crowdcast, that I really like. I really like the Crowdcast platform, but I ran into some trouble live streaming the Crowdcast over to Facebook. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with the fact that we're also streaming it to Facebook, but the video quality was rather poor, and I got some help from the people at Crowdcast. They were able to analyze what was going on at my end, and everything they indicated to me said that my PC performance, or the computer that I'm using, is a little bit lacking. Maybe they said they didn't think I had a bandwidth issue. I told them what kind of bandwidth I have. I don't have the best bandwidth in the world here. The fastest service I can get here into my home is 100 megabit down and 10 megabit up, and they said if that's running properly, you shouldn't have any problems. So everything seems to be fine on the bandwidth side. I checked my bandwidth to make sure there wasn't anything peculiar going on right before we started. Everything looked good there, and I think everything looks good so far here at the moment. One thing I noticed right away when I kicked this off is I have a little bit of a lag over on the Facebook side, but not much. It was like 30 or 40 seconds before, and it kicked that off fairly immediately this time. So that's where we are on that, and I'm hoping that we're not going to run into any video quality issues tonight. We upgraded some hardware to fix that. So let's have a drink. Hope everybody's going to have a drink with me. Yeah, I see that, Jeff. It just went a little fuzzy over on the Facebook side, so maybe this is just not a problem I can fix. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at it and see what it looks like from my side. But yeah, I don't like that, and if that continues to be a problem, I'm going to have to make some more changes. I can't buy any more bandwidth, so if this doesn't solve the problem, I'm out of luck with that. Tonight I'm going to have some of my Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select, and one of the things I want to show you, this is a beautiful crystal decanter that my mom bought me for Christmas, and she's been fussing that I haven't been using this, so I put my new bottle of Jack Single Barrel Select in this decanter, and we have a matching set of glasses to go with that. So we're gonna have a few fingers here of my favorite Tennessee whiskey tonight, in courtesy of this nice crystal decanter and these glasses that my mom so graciously got me for Christmas. So cheers. If you're having a drink with me tonight, let me know what you're having. Sharon, I'll try to get with you this week and figure out what's wrong, why you can't get in over on the Crowdcast side. I don't know what's the problem there. We'll sort it out. So yeah, I don't know how many people we've got with us tonight. Let me see if I can see that. I don't have very many here on the Patreon. I've got 6 showing on the Patreon side, and there's about 33 over on the Facebook side. So what I might experiment with next week maybe is not multi-streaming to Facebook and setting it up where you come in to the live stream through the Crowdcast side only. If you can come in through Crowdcast, there's a little bit more robust interaction opportunity here on that side. So let's see. One of the things I want to show you is here are the links to the patreon.com site, where I am providing some exclusive content as well as free content now. I appreciate all of you who have joined over there. That's going to be very helpful, and it's going to increase the amount of things I can actually do because of you guys. But following me for the live streams, if you can follow from the crowdcast.io site there in that link, you'll be a lot better off. There'll be a lot more opportunity there. There's some nice options for asking questions and doing polls and various things during the broadcast on that site. But one of the things I was talking about here was upgrading the hardware. The laptop that I had been using to do my live streaming with was 8 years old, and it was a Lenovo Yoga, and the one I actually started with was mine. And when I realized I was having some issues with that, I sort of took over my wife's. My wife had one just like it, but it had more horsepower and more memory than mine did. But that turned out not to be doing a very nice job either. So I decided to go ahead and upgrade the laptop this week. And I picked up one of these Asus ZenBook Duos that's really nice. My wife just bought a new one of these a couple months ago, but she got the one that's totally dressed out. It's got the Core i9, it's got 32 gigs of RAM, and I think it's got at least a terabyte SSD in it, if not more. And it's larger than this one. It's a horse, and it's really a super nice laptop. And I was gonna borrow hers and do a test this weekend with it. And when I sat down at hers earlier this week to play with it and see what I could come up with, I kind of fell in love with this dual screen, and I let myself talk myself into going ahead and buying one. So I've upgraded my hardware here. Tonya's here with us tonight on the Crowdcast side. I see that Tonya's checked in. I might see if I can get Tonya to come on screen with me here in a little bit and let you guys meet my wife. I know a couple of you have met my wife before. A couple of you that I've met face-to-face at Atlanta Grill Company have had the opportunity to meet Tonya. But I'm going to see if I can talk her into coming on live with me here in a little bit maybe. But that's the new laptop, and this is kind of what I'm working with here right now. I've got this is the Man Cave Broadcast Studio. I've got this laptop sitting up on a stand that my wife also recommended, and I got the keyboard and the mouse that my wife has also. My wife, she's a tech genius. I don't know what I'd do without her. She makes sure I know what I need, and you can see one of my softbox lights back there in the background. There's another one like that off to the right here that I've bought to give me some decent lighting to do this. So that's where I am. Yeah, Bradley says go big or go home. I didn't do the go big or go home route. I'm not so much about that. I did upgrade, but I stopped. I didn't go crazy. I did not buy the $3,000 laptop. I just didn't do it. So, but my wife, bless her heart, she uses a laptop. Her laptop is her main computer. She doesn't have a desktop like I do and a laptop. So my laptop is a secondary machine, and it's not going to be my primary workhorse. I've got a very well dressed out desktop in my office back here that I use, but that's kind of what I've done to try to solve this live stream problem. And at the moment, it's still, I'm kind of monitoring here over on the Facebook side as well, and it still looks pretty clean. It looks like looks like I'm doing a pretty good job over there. So far I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do some the whole reason for this mess to start with was Patreon. The Crowdcast is what I need. That's the tool I need to integrate seamlessly and be able to do live streaming, exclusive live streaming to the Patreon subscribers, and that's why I'm setting this up to make this work. Starting next week, probably on Thursday, I'm going to do I'm going to start doing some exclusive content live streams over there. So join in if you can, and we'll work on it from there. And let's see here. The next thing I have on my list is I've still been playing with the Fireboard 2 a little bit this week. I did two things with it this week. I hooked it back. I used it to check my pellet Joe. I wanted to see how hot I could run the pellet Joe. So what I did was I just set it up. I set up the high temperature probe in the middle of the grill grate, and I got it up to well over 600 degrees. While it was coming up to this, it actually peaked out at about 670 degrees, and then it settled down to about 610, and I let it run there for a while. And after it had had a chance to run there for a little bit, I used my infrared thermometer and kind of took a temp of the drip pan grate underneath the grill grate, and you can see here that it's reading up over 780 degrees. So if you're curious about how hot the pellet Joe gets, well, there is some real evidence to go about that. I've seen it get hotter than this. Stephen Hickey and Luca Verini have been doing some testing as well, and Stephen's managed to get his a good bit hotter than this. And I tried to get this as hot as I could. It didn't help that the ambient temperature outside when I did this was in the 30s, but I used pure oak pellets from B&B, which should have burned really hot, about as hot as you could expect. So I did that. I also did a second round of tests using the Fireboard 2 Pro on the Dojo. And like I told you last week, the only reason I wanted the Fireboard 2 Pro is to run the Dojo. The Kamado Joe Dojo accessory is an excellent accessory for doing things like cooking pizzas and cooking anything else where you want a higher than normal temperature. And for those of you who have the Dojo, you might know that it's a little bit tricky, and there's a learning curve to learning to run that thing hot. But I learned right away a long time ago. I put the I command on it, and the I command ran it great, but the I command will only run it to 500 degrees because that's as far as you can go. But this new Fireboard 2 Pro with its high temperature probes can go a really long way. And I've got the data that I captured here from the Fireboard. Let me find it here. I know I've got it ready to go. Here it is. I can show you what this looks like. here you can see the graph. And what I did, I set this up differently than the last one. I put a little more charcoal in it this time than I did last time. I lit it in 3 places with the Kamado Joe Firestarter cubes, and I let those cubes burn in this charcoal pile for 8 or 9 minutes before I closed it up, put the dojo on, and then put the fan to it. And this is the kind of fire starter I use. These work really well. These guys, when you break them into the individual cubes, they'll burn for 10 or 12 minutes, and they produce a good bit of heat. When I'm typically using those to light a fire, I'll cut them in half. But then I set the dojo in, and then I just clipped my thermocouple to the dome thermometer there, and then I fired up the Fireboard 2, and you can see right over here, I think you can see, I set that for 650 degrees, and I also had the fan set to a maximum of 45%. I still don't want to run the temperature up too quickly in that, because I'm afraid I'll overheat it and do some damage to the dojo, and I don't want that to happen. But here's a picture when I got it up close to my target. I had it set at 650, and so you can see that I was, at that particular picture, I was at 631 by the digital thermometer, and I was here showing right at about 630 on the dome. So that was working really well, and everything ran real smoothly there. And here I did, when I was ready to stop, I did a temp on the stone, and the stone's showing about 677. So that's perfect. I don't think I could ask for a better setup than that. And back up here to the graph, once I fired this thing up, I lit it at 110, and at 1:53, which is 43 minutes later, I was up to 622. And right at that point, you can see this little dip in the graph. I had another one of those weird instances of it detecting a lid open condition. I had forgotten to go back in there and set my lid open timer to 0. That opening on the front of the dojo, sometimes if it's breezy or gusty outside, it can put a puff of cold air in there that'll cool it enough for the thermometer to think that I've opened the lid, and it stops the fan. But once I got that figured out and started it back up, you can see that it cranked back up here. And this guy ran, at 630, 640, 645 up here. Let's see, from that mark right there, it's 2:02 p.m., and I ran it all the way over here to 3 p.m. I ran it for an hour at 6:30 to 6:50 before my temperature started falling off. And that'd be all I would expect of it. And I don't think I'd really try to run it any hotter than 650. The dojo is only rated for 700, so I want to stay on the inside of that. I don't want to take it any higher than that and potentially end up with a damaged dojo. I don't want to have to go ask for another one and tell them I burnt theirs up playing with it. But I want to get that going because, like I told you before, I know I've said this for 2 weeks now, but this project is actually starting this coming week. I didn't get it started. We're going to do a 3-video pizza series, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet. There's a couple other things here that I want to look at. One of the other things I did this week, and I actually, let's see here. I made some barbecue sauce. Now, why won't that window share out here for me? Something may not be behaving right here. Okay. Oh goodness, I think I've locked this up. Crap. my browser here has locked up. Can you still see the video feed? Okay, I'm gonna have to try to bring up a new browser here and see if I can jump back in it, because my Chrome instance here locked up when I tried to share that image out. I've lost control. It may still be working, but I've lost control of it. Okay, I've lost control of Chrome completely. The Facebook feed stopped. I don't know if I'm still... Tonya's talking to me upstairs. I can hear her saying something, but I don't know what it is. Well, I've lost control of the feed here.
I can see you both places.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need to try to... Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to force close Chrome.
Yeah.
And see if I can get back in and not have lost it completely. Okay, I got back in. Can you see my video feed over there? Okay, good. I don't know what happened there. I was trying to share out a screen and my my Chrome locked up. I don't know if the Facebook feed died because of that or not. I'm gonna try to go back and have a look over there and see if the Man Cave Meals feed died or not. Yeah, something's a little goofy up here.
Honey, you're good on Facebook.
Okay, Tonya says I'm good on Facebook, so.
Yeah, so does Mark Ellsworth and David Bruner and Kevin O'Connell and Brian D. Smith.
Okay.
And Dave Smith.
All right. I can't. I'm gonna try to see if I can get back on the feed there. It looks like it's back up. Okay, I got back in. Okay, that looks like it's working. It's there. All right, sorry guys, I'm not sure what happened there. I was trying to share out another thing. Let me start that back. I got a couple more things I wanted to show you in the picture world here before let's see. I've got a note here that says big ass rock. So let's see what that's all about. I'm going to try the share again. I'm going to share an application window and share this picture. I don't normally buy into this, but this time I just had to do it. You know, everybody in the Facebook groups, every time somebody finds something in a charcoal bag, they can't wait to post it. And rocks are one of the things that people find frequently in charcoal bags. Well, they find them frequently in hardwood lump charcoal bags. Let's put it that way. I find rocks in charcoal bags all the time. It doesn't bother me because I understand how lump charcoal is made in South America. It doesn't happen as frequently in lump charcoal facilities here in North America because they're making they're doing their firing of the hardwood in large commercial kilns. When you go down to South America, in Argentina, like where the Kamado Joe charcoal is made, and the Fogo charcoal, and Jealous Devil's made in South America somewhere, but I don't think it's made in Argentina. I think it's made in another country. But they have these big, huge kilns that are made of earthen bricks. They look like igloos. They look like huge rock igloos. And these rocks that you find in these charcoal bags typically are pieces of that, because they seal that thing up and then they break it open when the charcoal's done. And some of that rock, some of the small rock, finds its way back into your charcoal bag sometime. It's just the nature of the way the manufacturing process is for this. But I just had to show this rock because I have never in my life had one that big. That rock weighs just over 2 pounds there on my scale, and I don't know how to. It's the size of a small grapefruit. It's a pretty big rock, and like I said, it looks like a piece of charcoal there in the picture, and I wouldn't have noticed it had it not made a huge odd sounding thump when I dumped it out of my charcoal bag into the Kamado Joe. And I'm not even going to tell you what brand of charcoal this is. I've got 5 different brands of hardwood lump sitting right here right now, and as far as I'm concerned, all of them are equal when it comes to finding rocks in the bag. I've not found every brand of lump I've ever used has had rocks in the bag. But anyway, I wanted to show you that. And then I made barbecue sauce this week. Where's my pic? I'm missing a picture of that. There it is. I got my pictures out of order here. I like being able to whip together a barbecue sauce in a hurry if I want one. And I like a lot of commercial sauces as well, but this is one of my recipes, and it's sort of a Kansas City style sweet red sauce. And this is actually one of the ones where I shared the recipe as an exclusive post on the Patreon group this week. And I made about what boils down to about 3 cups of barbecue sauce. I got a 16-ounce mason jar here that's full, and I got another 16-ounce mason jar there that's a little different shape, that's about half full. But everybody needs to have a barbecue sauce in their repertoire that comes together quickly, and this one doesn't require any long cooking or anything significant. The ingredients on this one are really simple. It starts out with just tomato sauce basically, and then I use honey and molasses in it. When I first started this recipe, I was using all molasses, but the amount of molasses I had to use in it made this sauce darker than I wanted it. I was losing my red color by using that much molasses, so I kind of split it and used honey and molasses. And then it's just got, it's got red wine vinegar in it to bring the acidity to counter some of that sweetness. And then it's just got some really nice spices in there as well. It's got some black pepper. I also use a little bit of fish sauce instead of salt. That umami that comes along with fish sauce. There's a little Worcestershire in there, and there's other little bit of goodness, like there might or might not be a little bit of cinnamon in that. So there's tons of Kansas City style barbecue sauce recipes on the interwebs, and I highly recommend having one of those that you like that comes together quickly. This is still like any other sauce, though. If you can make this a day or so in advance, it's better on the second day. And this is a beautiful sauce for ribs, butts, chicken. So that was one of the things I made this week. And beyond that, I made the video that I published this week. Today was this smoked pimento cheese and sausage dip that's really amazing. I've made this before. I actually made a Kamado Joe video on this quite a while back, and I changed up the recipe a little bit. This is not really my recipe. This is my version of a recipe from Chef Vivian Howard, who had that TV show called A Chef's Life. And she owns a restaurant down in Kinston, North Carolina called The Chef and the Farmer. And she and her husband had another restaurant in Kingston called The Boiler Room. And this was something they served there. They served a dip. This is a dip. And they served it with these homemade saltine crackers that were just amazing. My wife and I actually had some of those when we visited that restaurant. But that's my video for this week. I have published that on the Atlanta Grill Company webpage, or the Atlanta Grill Company Facebook page, and on the Atlanta Grill Company YouTube channel. And I shared it out to several other places, including Man Cave Meals, if you want to see that video. So, you know, that winds me up to the final thing that I want to talk about today. And I've kicked off a starter for this video series on the pizza. Let me bring this up here. I published this yesterday on the Atlanta Grill Company Facebook page, and I also posted it to the Patreon page. If I can get it to come up here, I'll show you a brief look at it, and we'll I don't even know what it says. I'm still sharing. Let's stop sharing that picture, and let's have a look now at my Patreon tab, and we will have a brief look here. This is the article I posted on Thursday called Demystifying Homemade Pizza. And what my objective here with this project is to try to get more people to try making pizza at home. You know, try making your homemade pizza dough and make it from scratch. This is real easy to do, and like I said, I'm going to do a 3-video series that's going to highlight 3 pizza doughs. And the recipe for these pizza doughs is all the same, with the exception of how much yeast you're going to use in each dough. We're going to start out this coming week with a quick dough, and the quick dough starts and finishes inside of 2 hours. From the time you mix your dough, you're going to cook that dough within 2 hours. You're going to cook your pizza, and we're going to use that exact same recipe and exact same technique to put the dough together to do a 24-hour dough. All we're going to do, instead of using 5 grams of yeast, we're going to use 1.5 grams of yeast. And hang on a second, I'm getting PMs here. Let me shut this down for a moment. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to take the same dough recipe and we're going to put it together just like we put together the quick dough, but instead of doing the bulk ferment, we're going to put that dough, we're going to let the dough rise at room temperature for a couple hours after we mix it, but then we're going to throw it in the refrigerator overnight and let it go for 18 hours in the refrigerator. And about 4 hours before we're ready to cook the pizza, we're going to take that dough out. We're going to make our dough balls for the pizza, and then we're going to let those rest at room temperature and rise some more before we come up and shape the pizzas. There's no difference in the amount of hands-on time you have between the 2-hour dough and the 24-hour dough. It's just happening at different points across a 24-hour period. And then the week after that, we're going to do one that's going to be a 72-hour dough. And instead of using 1.5 grams of yeast, we're going to use 3/4 gram of yeast. And we're going to do the same process as the 24-hour dough, but we're just going to leave it in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days. You could do that one for 2 days or 3 days, and it'll be good. And it's all the same recipe, all the same amount of hands-on time. And the reason we do these different ferment times is because of flavor development. The longer ferment at the colder temperature produces a much more flavorful dough. It's all about how the yeast ferments and how the yeast grows and how the time. This is another beautiful example of time being an ingredient that makes a big difference. You can do the same sort of thing here with sourdough and have a really intriguing flavor pizza. I don't want to get into sourdough though, because I'm really struggling to get people to try to make their own dough. I know there's a lot of people out there that love pizza, but I want to try to get more people to make that dough at home, and I'm going to show you how to do this. It's really nice if you've got a kitchen scale. For repeatability purposes, measuring these ingredients by weight is really the way it needs to happen, because if you're measuring flour by the cup, if you've got a kitchen scale, you can see how far off it is. 1 cup of flour doesn't weigh the same thing from 1 cup to the next. And salt is where you really get in trouble when you don't weigh it, because a fine grained table salt, a tablespoon of that weighs almost twice as much as a coarse grained kosher salt or sea salt. So you can really end up with too much salt or not enough salt, depending on what kind of salt you're using if you're not weighing it. So we're going to go through that, and it's going to be 3 consecutive weeks, and we're going to do pizza, and we're going to cook in 3 different ovens. I'm going to start out with the dojo on the Kamado Joe. We're going to cook the next one on the rock box, and then we're going to cook the final one on the Alpha wood-fired oven. We're going to use all 3 of these wonderful pizza ovens to go through this process. You don't have to have all these ovens, and the great thing about this dough recipe is it doesn't really matter what temperature you cook it at. This dough can handle being cooked at 500 degrees, and it can also handle being cooked at 900 degrees. So there's that. That's where I am. And I don't have a gadget this week because I haven't really spent time looking for a gadget to show you this week, because I've been getting all this hardware put together. So let's see if let me see if Tonya's still with me, and see if I can invite her to come up on screen with me here. I've just invited Tonya to come live, and let's see if she'll jump in here with me. I don't know, maybe there she comes. All right, you need to move your webcam down a little bit where you don't look like a. There we go, guys. This is Tonya. Tonya is my wife, and she puts up with an awful lot of crap living with me. So she's very tolerant, but I don't know how to really put that. She's not going to drink whiskey with me tonight, I don't guess. We'll say hello, Tonya.
Hi, everyone.
Tell everyone what you do for a living.
Well, I am a community college instructor, and I teach networking and all kinds of IT stuff. So I never know what I'm going to teach. I've got quite a range of classes this semester. I've, of course, teaching the Cisco Networking Academy, and I have for 20 years now, so my background is in networking. And I've got advanced data structures and algorithms this semester, and of course the basic intro to computers, as well as a Windows 2000 server class, Windows 2016 server class. We haven't updated to 19 yet. And I'm teaching something else that just went.
So what's your favorite class to teach?
Anything that has the word Cisco in it.
Yeah. Tonya's a certified, let me see if I get this right, a certified Cisco network instructor. Is that what CCN what?
That's the CCAI, the Certified Cisco Academy Instructor.
Okay.
And to get that, you had to be a CCNA, which is a Certified Cisco Network Associate. And you have had to taught in the Cisco Networking Academies.
Yeah, so Tonya...
No, I'm not a CCIE yet, Jason. It's
Tonya knows everything about networking. She's a...
Maybe.
Yeah, and when I first met Tonya, which was actually a very long time before we even started dating, Tonya was in IT back then even. She actually interviewed for a job that I had open at a company that I used to work for, and that's the first time I met Tonya. And then Tonya ended up working at a hospital where my mom works, or where my mom used to work before she retired, and that's actually how Tonya and I got to know each other, was there, because I had been married and divorced, and my mom says, you really should meet Tonya. And it turns out she said something to Tonya, and Tonya gave in to knowing who I was at that point. She had met me. And so, yeah, we've known each other for a long time. We haven't been married that long. We've been married we're coming up on 3 years now, so...
But full disclosure, y'all. So on the job interview, they take me back to meet the guy I'm going to be working with, and there's John. And the minute I see him, that was it. I felt completely, totally head over heels, insanely in love. He hadn't said a word. He was just sitting there looking dorky. And that was it.
That was back when I had hair.
He had hair. Really,
that's before I shaved my head. But anyway, we'll not get too deep into that. But Tonya puts up with my cooking hobby, and I like to pick with Tonya. I like to pick with her a lot, and you know, Tonya's very expensive for me this time of year, because we've got Christmas, and then her birthday's on January the 30th. So we just had a birthday, and then we got Valentine's Day coming up. So I've got to fork out big 3 times in a row in like a 45-day period. It's really high maintenance. And one of the things I like to tell her is that I'm going to get her a grill of her very own.
Yeah, that's what he says all the time.
Yeah, we're going to get Tonya a grill of her very own. And she just refuses. She says, I've got a bunch of grills already. And she says, I've got somebody to run them. So... We bought Tonya a grill one time. This back early on, when I was just becoming a partner with Kamado Joe. Actually, we had been to Atlanta. The owner of Kamado Joe had invited us to come down and meet their people, and they took us out for dinner, and they took us to an Atlanta Braves game. And on the way home from that weekend down there, we stopped at one of the shopping malls on the north end of Atlanta, and there was a Traeger rep in there doing one of the Traeger road shows at this shopping mall. And my wife doesn't like cooking on a grill because my wife doesn't like playing with fire. She doesn't like lighting a fire. That's why we don't have a gas stove upstairs, is we don't like fire. So I got to thinking about these pellet grills, and I said, Tonya, this thing right here, you don't have to light a fire in it. All you got to do is have pellets in that hopper and turn that switch on right there, and this thing does all the work. It lights the fire for you. And she says, yeah. She says, I think I could do that. And so that's when I bought my first Traeger, and it was the Traeger Little Texas Elite. It was like a 16 by 20 inch. Maybe. I don't remember what the exact dimensions on that grill were. It's not very big, but that grill's still in use. Tonya's brother has that grill right now, and he cooks on it a lot, but I think Tonya cooked on it twice during the time we had it. I remember specifically that she cooked a meatloaf on it. And did you do a hash brown casserole on it? Was that the second cook you did on it?
I think so.
Yeah, but it just wasn't her jam, and I learned right then. That was my first experience with a pellet grill, and I learned some things about the pellet grill that I really loved. And I did our family's Thanksgiving turkey on that Traeger that year, and it to this day I still believe that the pellet grills are just the bee's knees when it comes to poultry. Whether it be chicken wings, whole chickens, whole turkeys, I love doing them on the pellet grill because I can go hot and I can get a nice crisp skin texture on that. But Tonya doesn't have the love for grilling that I do because Tonya doesn't eat a lot of the things that come off the grill. Some of the things I cook on the grill that Tonya really loves, she loves, the steaks. I cook filet. Tonya likes filet mignon, and she likes New York strips okay, too. She's not a fan of the ribeye. She does not like the fatty part that comes in a ribeye. She likes meat with a little bit more texture. She doesn't like anything that's super, super tender. That's like she doesn't like a brisket, for instance, because of its tenderness and because it's fall apart. She'll eat about as tender as she'll go is something like a pot roast where you've done a chuck roast in a crock pot and made. You do that, don't you, Tonya? We haven't done one in a while, but you do pot roast, right? Tonya?
You're talking too soft.
Do you like pot roast? Do we do pot roast occasionally?
Occasionally. To be honest with you, I really like the carrots, the potatoes, and the onions that come in the pot roast better than the
pot roast itself. Yeah. Okay. Well. But you like steaks, you like burgers, you like hot dogs. I know the slot dog has become a big thing here.
Yes.
She won't eat it any other way now.
Slot dogs for the win.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I'll share a insider tip with you guys. So traditionally, our Valentine's dinner is hot dogs. Done with the slot dogs and John's divine chili and his transcendental pimento cheese.
Pimento cheese, yeah. The two of the things that I make that Tonya likes more than anything else that I do is my homemade hot dog chili. And I think I recently published a video for that on Atlanta Grill Company as one of the condiment items. It's not a chili, it's a condiment chili. It's the kind of chili you'd put on a hot dog or on a burger or on nachos, and she loves it. She thinks that's one of the greatest things ever, and she likes my homemade pimento cheese equally well. So one day I got the wild idea. I said, she likes hot dogs, so I said, let's do a slot dog. Let's use a top slice bun, and let's put that chili on it, and let's put pimento cheese on it. And that was like one of the greatest things ever. She also, I haven't done another one of these in a while, and I need to do another one, especially while the weather's cold. But Tonya really liked my shepherd's pie. The shepherd's pie that I did with Guinness. When I made the beef, I made the sauce to go in that with Guinness, and put the vegetables in there and the beef, and then topped it with the potatoes. The Guinness really takes the shepherd's. You have to call mine cottage pie legally. Mine's not a shepherd's pie because I don't use ground lamb. Tonya prefers ground beef, so that's what we use. And I don't even think I can buy ground lamb here. I've never seen it. I don't know if there's anybody that carries it locally, but it's not something I'm used to seeing. So, she likes the cooking, and one of the things we've been trying to do. I'm not 100% on this yet. Is before COVID hit the neighborhood, Monday night was date night here. We would go out and have a really nice dinner somewhere on Monday, and then I would cook the rest of the week. And I get lazy sometimes and don't cook dinner. We'll get carry out somewhere, but I've had some good experiences here lately trying to do some new things when I cook. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday would typically be a night I would cook, and we would go go out just on Monday nights. But since COVID's come around, we haven't had a date night out to eat, and we're coming up on a year, because if I remember correctly, the last time we sat down for dinner inside a restaurant was on my birthday last year, which is in early March. And my mom took us to a place that Tonya and I both like for dinner on my birthday, and it was like just a day or two after that they shut down the restaurants in North Carolina. They didn't allow any more in-house dining after that, and we have not sat down. Some of the restaurants are open now, and some of them have been open for a while with limited seating, but we haven't been comfortable going back to that yet. Now, fortunately, I've had my second dose of the COVID vaccine because I'm a healthcare worker. Tonya participated in the same clinical trial that I did, and since she's a school teacher, she's had her first dose. She's getting, I think today was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago today that you had the first dose, right?
I think so. My next dose is next Friday.
Right. So, yeah, you'll be going back next Friday. And I think maybe after Tonya gets the second dose, my mom's had her second dose already. So after Tonya gets her second dose and it's had a chance to do its thing, I might be able to talk Tonya into going out for dinner again on a Monday. And maybe I'd like to take my mom out with us. My mom's been real good about staying in, but now that she's post second dose, I'm trying to get my mom out some more, because my mom's a lot happier when she's not cooped up in the house. So, well, I'm not going to hold you guys up tonight, but I wanted to try to bring Tonya on with me, and I might try to have Tonya come on with me more frequently, because I want Tonya to help me keep up with the questions that are being asked, so we can make sure I miss those. There's some neat stuff here in the Crowdcast side where you can mark something as a question, where I think I'll see it. I haven't had a chance to test all these fun features we have here with Crowdcast yet, but I'm gonna get Tonya to do some testing with me one night this coming week when we're both not busy with something, and we're going to play around with it. So that's all I've got for tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Just at a first glance, I'm looking over here at Facebook, and my video quality looks good there. It looks good here. I haven't seen but that one minor instance early on in this where we had a little bit of a quality issue there, but hopefully the upgrades I've done have resolved most of that. So, guys,
John?
Yeah?
You've got two questions.
Okay, what am I missing out on here? Did you mark something as a question?
I asked one of the questions, yeah.
Okay. Where did you ask it? Because I don't see it.
I used that ask a question function. Yeah,
wait a minute. No,
I actually have the sound turned off up here, so I'm hearing John downstairs.
I've got an icon here that says, I've got two questions. The first one says, "Is your wife awesome?" I have to say, yes, she is. She's way beyond awesome, and she's got some cool cats also. And it says the next one here, Bradley Craig. There is an ask a question button. I clicked it. So, yeah, there's a feature there where if I hit the button to tell it that I've started answering the question, it'll post some of that information in the comment thread, I think, and help find the answers to the questions. So, yeah, we're going to have to play around with that a little bit more. Okay, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. And Tonya, I appreciate you coming on with me. And until next week, it's good night from the Man Cave.